project of the Imagining New Communities, which is a peace-building and communication organization. I'm also a master peace-building trainer with the United States Institute of Peace. I am a certified mediator and child rights researcher. I also currently serve as co-chair for the Global Coalition on Faith Solution, SDGs, so in terms of the Summit of the Future, whatever resolution that came from the Summit of the Future. I am a community organizer and work mostly in the urban spaces. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm grateful to be here today. My name is Sukaina Khimji. I am representing Impasto Ventures today. I'm a certified suicide first aider, and Impasto Ventures is about championing suicide prevention, and we also provide mental wellness trainings within communities and corporates, and it's lovely to be here today.
Good afternoon. My name is Anne Nyamburanjehu, or Anne Murada, and I am a sociologist who is passionate about social protection. So I specialize in building social policies that can be able to help us be able to provide services to the vulnerable in the community. So my specialization is in child protection, gender-based violence, and child safeguarding. I'm also a passionate baker. I own a bakery called Analyst Oven, and I own a social enterprise called Tujali Africa.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, my panelists. So I want us to dive right in. In the earlier session, we have seen the statistics. And so I want to start with you, John. One thing we can say is that young people are both consumers and creators of content in the digital space. So share with us, from the information that you have, how is misinformation shaping young people's identities, especially around their gender, mental health, and political engagement? And while at it, I also want you to tell us, what do you think can be done to be able to cultivate a generation of advocates who challenge toxic narratives and promote digital truth?
That question is a very detailed, it was very well structured. First, I want to say that I'm a beneficiary of digital platforms, and I can say that digital platforms has both advantages and disadvantages. So how can we reap from the benefits of digital platforms, and how can we make sure that the disadvantaged part of it doesn't penetrate and infuse a number of young minds and a number of different persons? To start, just from Kenya, from the statistic that you've indicated, you've realized that all those conversations, misinformation has been taking place, and most of the misinformation occurs in digital platforms, social media platforms. You find people just share without knowing much about the information. You find that I got the information, I shared it in different platforms, I pass it from one end to another. And these has really created a lot of change mindset of different Kenyans, mindset of different people, negatively to our leaders, political leaders, and also towards different things. And I want to say that, let me talk about the positive things. The good thing of social media is this. Why am I saying that I'm a beneficiary of social media? I personally come from a marginalized community in the interior part of Kenya. And I feel like without social media, I didn't know any person. And I meaningfully engage people on social media. I connect with different people. And from there, I share with them what I'm able to offer, what are my passion. And with that, my presence on social media made me to be ranked at position 202, top 500 global influencers on climate action. So with this, we find a number of people reaching out to know, what are you doing? What are you able to do? You understand? Can we engage in this conversation? Can we invite you to speak to these young people? Just to share the positive vibes, share the positive things that we do at community level. And I feel like, right with us, we have a number of people doing great things. And I'm very happy to share that I have passionate young people we are working together with, and different people working together in different sectors. We can't say about peace building without connecting it without creating peace education. We can't talk about peace building without talking about sexual reproductive health. We can't talk about peace without talking about gender issues. And we've been having these kinds of conversation, and I'm happy we are with Tony Olela here. We've been doing a lot of training on media information literacy to the young people. How do we package information before we post it online? Because why you, for instance, if I'm to post something, why am I posting it? What will be the long-term effect of that post? And I feel like there's a lot of need for us. It's a collective responsibility to come together. I know that you are good in gender issues, you are good in climate issues, I'm good in advocacy. So we share together and amplify the positive things that we all need together. And I want to say that all of us has a responsibility. Be it you are young, you are old, you are experienced, not experienced. It is your experience to guide those who are not experienced. It's me who have the information to share the information with that person who doesn't have the information, and meaningful information. So I feel like you asked me about what is the next step. Yes, why are we here first? At individual responsibility, why am I participating in this event? That's a question that I need to ask myself. I know that from this event, we'll be able to connect with different people, not everyone, but different stakeholders that will keep the conversation going. I share with you my value, you bring your value, and make sure that no one is left behind. And in making sure that no one is left behind, we are creating a peaceful society. A society which is well-informed, a society which is well-informed in everything that is happening. So I feel from here, if I'm advocating for people to use LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn as a digital tool, platform I mean, because they are acknowledging that most of my connection I created there. There are even people here we've been connecting with online, but this is our first time meeting. I'm sure there are a number of them here. And being that this is our first time, I think that this is just the beginning of conversation. We can keep on with the conversation and make sure that we keep on advocating for peace, we advocate for good uses of digital platforms, and we can't, they are there to stay. We can't, there will be no, the people are just advancing them, and we just need to create that awareness and meaningful awareness that if you use this social media platform meaningfully, you're able to come from this far to this far. And also, I want to challenge most of our youth, because this is a practical aspect. For instance, if you apply for these mostly UN jobs, they will request you to share your link to social media platforms. Why are they requesting you to do so? It's because they want to track what you are able to do. And are you somebody that can be trusted? What are you posting online? And are they peace? Do they bring peace? Do they bring peace? And the most thing in the world is peace. If you can't preach about peace, then without peace, nothing can happen. Without peace, there is no education. Without peace, there is no economic development. So peace is the bedrock for every development in the society. And I can speak till the end of the evening because I'm really, this conversation is very interesting. I feel like we can't, to the organizers, I'll request you to organize as many events as this so that you keep engaging and have much time to keep this conversation going. So thanks very much. I'm here with few people and just need to recognize their presence because they are doing amazing work. We have David Eka from UNESCO Youth Forum, Cisia, Gloria, Lydia Wanja, Evelyn Wanja. There are a number of people. So keep up the good work and let's make sure that no one is left behind. If you have something that if I feel I can assist in any way, I'm ready to help. That is my responsibility. And also, if you feel like you can help me in one way or the other, feel free to reach out. Just tell me, Linus, I see today you need some good bottle of sodas. Go eat soda. Thank you.
Linus, when we have time, we will give time for shout-outs, okay? All right, thank you so much for that. And I really want to move on to Sukaina Khimji. And maybe just in 3 minutes, I'm glad as a society we are starting to talk about depression. We're starting to talk about suicide because these are things that affect young people. So I want you to share with us, in your work around suicide prevention, how have online platforms contributed to both harm and help for young people struggling with mental health? And then once you're able to answer that, I also just want you to share with us, being in that space, what are the trends related to suicide that you've seen spreading in Kenyan digital spaces, and how can we counter these narratives sensitively and effectively?
Thank you. So we've gone through statistics, and according to the National Bureau of Statistics, the population of Kenya is about 52.4 million. Between 2019 and 2024, it was a pivotal time because there was a hike in the youth from between 30 to 46%, which means that there are, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, again, there are 23 million youth within Kenya. That is a large number. Out of those, 64.6% urban youth are exposed to digital platforms, whereas 48.8% rural youth are exposed to digital platforms within Kenya. Now that you're aware of the statistics, you can only imagine what the exposure is like. Now, let's be real. How many here read the newspaper religiously? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. How many here update their social media platforms on X, on Instagram, etc. on a daily basis? Aren't we part of the urban youth? Yes? And you spoke about the policeman who posted on the social media about dying by suicide. And who is the, Tina. Tina spoke about how there is doom scrolling happening. So imagine these things being put on social media a day before you die. As far as I know, there was also a musician, a coastal musician, who a month ago posted a day before he died by suicide that he was tired of life and done with life. So social media platforms are being used to show live cases of people dying by suicide. And as Kenyans, we don't run away from danger, we actually go towards it. When there's something happening, we're curious about it and we want to see what's happening. Why is that the cause? Isn't that, how are we helping? Even if we are going there, look at the comment section. What is on the comment section when people post these things? What are the comments like? When somebody comes to you and tells you that they have suicide ideation or suicide behavior, do you know what to do in that moment? Do you know how to help them? Do you know how to bring them into a safe space? No, these are things that are not spoken about. Now imagine what 23 million youth can do if they use their platforms correctly. Yeah? Sorry. So, according to the policy brief by the Ministry of Health in Kenya, in 2023, every day 4 Kenyans die of suicide. 4 Kenyans. And bear in mind, these are, at that time, dying by suicide was a criminal offense. Let's take a minute to applaud the Kenyan government for destigmatizing suicide. Imagine the cases that were not even reported. Yeah? Sorry. So Kenyans are very dramatic, as we know. Instead of bringing in people to talk about lived experiences, oh, this is how I went through suicide, this is how I went through suicide ideation, etc. Imagine if we are re-traumatizing, or if somebody is thinking of contemplating suicide, you're actually giving them ideas instead of destigmatizing it. Imagine if somebody went through losing somebody through suicide. You're re-traumatizing them by reminding them because they're emotionally injured. So how do we talk about it? Instead, why don't we talk about intervention? Why don't we talk about prevention? Why don't we talk about post-intervention? Has anybody here taken a flight to anywhere? Yes? Is the pilot trained for airline safety? Yes. Are the engineers trained for airline safety? Yes. Are the cabin crew trained for airline safety? What about the people doing the tickets or taking your luggage, etc., working in the airport? Do you think they're trained for airline safety? Yes? No? Yes. Yes. How about our pastors, our teachers, youth, whoever they mingle with on a daily basis? Are they trained for suicide first aid? Do they know how to deal in the moment with people who may be having suicide ideation or suicide behavior? No. What are we doing about it? So in regards to that, Impasto Ventures provides a suicide first aid training that is certified by the National Center of Suicide Prevention. It is a 4.5-hour course which is certified again, and after that you become part of our community. And whenever anyone is going through or feeling or having suicide ideation, you can actually be the middle person who assists and brings that person into a safe space. So again, how are we using our platform to talk about it? Are we talking about how, if I'm feeling lonely, what can I do? What are the mindful activities I can do? Do I take a walk in Karura? Do I have a friend I can talk to? Instead of posting things that re-traumatize, can we change the narrative and post things, maybe inspirational quotes? You may never know who you may have created an impact for. So I would encourage everybody to use, that would be the harm of social media, and how we can use it instead to create an impact and bring people into a safe space and talk about it more. And just make parents, teachers, pastors, everyone aware of suicide ideation and how to deal with it in the moment. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Khimji. Really appreciate that. And I want to pick from what you said. You asked the question, do our teachers, parents, and the society know how to handle suicide? So I want to come back to you, Sahlim Charles, and just talk about community structures, okay, and the institutions we have around us. So we have faith-based institutions and other institutions that play a key role in shaping values and responding to societal issues. So how can different community structures engage in digital peace building, especially in tackling harmful digital content in homes and schools? Talk to us.
Thank you so much. I think from morning we've been discussing, and the previous speakers have given us a lot of ideas, on what needs to happen. And one thing that has come out since morning is that, our social media is not neutral. It can either be a tool or very harmful to us. And also, when we get into our online platforms, we want to consume content, but we end up being consumed by that content. And this is what affects most of the groups that we work with. I work with teachers and pastors, and especially pastors, because we have come up, pastors and preachers have come up with online preaching, where they are competing on who can be the best online preacher. But none of them, or most of them, don't pay attention to their wellness, their well-being. And when I was talking in the morning, I shared of a pastor's wife who complained about the husband being online until 3 a.m. in the morning, and she was wondering, is this pastor praying for someone online, or what is happening? And also, there is another monster. You remember what Tina talked about, the online betting, which most of the pastors and religious leaders and everybody, young people, are engaging in. And it's because, economically where we are, Kenya, if your job cannot give you enough, you'll try something else. And betting has given us that opportunity. We have teachers who will get into betting, we'll have, pastors and other people get into betting. And most of them, according to what Sofina said, most of the pastors, actually, when you talk to them, most of them are committing suicide. I'm sure it is, out of the 4 that you are talking, I'm sure that there should be one, one is a pastor.
Can I correct you? So instead of using committing suicide again, that is wrong, we say died by suicide, thank you. Yes, so you'll find that, most pastors, and it's because of a lot of trauma that they go through. So I'll go to the pastor when I have a problem, but that pastor doesn't have someone that he will be offloading to. And so one of the ways that we can be able to help pastors and community structures is emphasizing the issue of digital literacy training. We talk about that mostly, but we are not targeting, mostly mainstreaming it in schools and in religious spaces. Because when we go to schools, we go as external parties. But we need to be able to partner with the Ministry of Education at policy level. And we need to be able to emphasize the need to do that. We need to partner with religious organizations. And most of religious organizations, in terms of registration and all that, they fall under the Ministry of Interior.
So we need to be able to have that discussion with the Ministry of Interior and other partners on how can we be able to train pastors on digital literacy and other religious leaders as they preach in the mosques, as they preach in the churches, and they also understand the importance of digital literacy. Also in terms of online preaching, as they preach about their prosperity gospel and Jesus and everything, do they also understand basic peace building? Because digital peace building today is the thing, because there is a lot of cyberbullying, there is a lot that is happening on our social media. And I remember the gentleman from Creco talked about misinformation and fake news. Today, if you don't have the right skills and the right tools, you'll not know if whatever you're consuming is fake or genuine. You'll not know, because there is a very thin line between fake news and real news, very thin line. And so you'll find that most of us in the communities will be running with fake news. And by the time we realize that it's fake news, it's already in the system. That's what we have already been, we have shared out there. So that doing that will really help. And also just establishing digital ministries. For example, just to monitor, cyberbullying and all those kind of hate online. Because if we support our religious spaces and schools mostly in terms of prioritizing their digital wellness, then it will be very easy for us to talk about peaceful societies in Kenya. Because Kenya is not peaceful. We have a lot of inner struggles. In peace building, we talk about inner peace and outer peace. There is no way we'll talk about outer peace when we are struggling. There is a quote that says you cannot give what you don't have. And most of the time we go talking about peace building, outer peace building, and internally we are suffering. And that's what we see on our social media. We see a lot of outpouring. You see, even just a small post, people start insulting you. You have a big head, you have this, and you just posted your beautiful, self-eating. They will start looking for mistakes in that photo. And you see, it's not about you. It's actually now the people who are consuming this content and the kind of struggle they are going through. And lastly, we also need to be able to think about, how do we heal our traumas? And we are glad all of us here, most of us, work with children. If we don't start supporting children, these children tomorrow they'll be adults. And so if we don't support them in creating the right environment for them, tomorrow they'll be adults who have childhood traumas. And they are struggling a lot. These are the people that will be on the road, demonstrating because of this and this and this. But if we are able to start training our children on self-awareness, on being aware of who they are, their personalities, their emotional regulations, then it's very easy when this person is growing up to know, this is who I am. So I can be able to survive in any kind of environment. Whether I'm bullied online, whether anybody says anything, but I know who I am. And also us being able to provide safe online communities. That is a very critical thing. That, someone has gone through, cyberbullying, has gone through hate online. Are we able to support them? Are we able to reassure them? Are we able to just, comfort and provide that safe online community? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I want to pick it from the children. And I want to come to you. I think child protection and safeguarding, especially in the African context, bringing it to the Kenyan context is a big thing. And it's something we're all trying. So share with us as an expert, because one of the first things we're seeing, and the statistics really say it, is that children and adolescents are increasingly exposed to online content that harms their development and their safety. So how can we build stronger digital safeguarding policies and just offer protection in that sector? Take it away.
Thank you. Yes, according to WHO, the most vulnerable person in the population is, of course, a child, right? And me being a specialist in social protection, of course, the first vulnerable person in the population to take care of is a child before you go to other members of the population. And so, first of all, I start by applauding the nation because we have the laws that are really good. The Constitution of Kenya of 2010 is ranked amongst the best in the world, right? And under the Constitution of Kenya, we have Article 53 that really talks about the basic rights of the child, which violations is one of the things that we are supposed to protect children from. And then we have the Children's Act. Now, actually, we are really glad that we have a Children's Act that is the latest policy, I think, right now in the nation. It was amended in 2022. And the amendment comes with an amazing feature. If you look at Article 36 of the Children's Act, it talks about us childminders and anyone who takes care of the child having the responsibility to make sure that children are protected from harmful social media, and also ensuring that we are very sensitive to age-appropriate content and exposure of children to the social media according to their age appropriateness. Now, when you go and look at what is the age appropriateness for a child to be engaged in the social media platform, so worldwide, according to UNCRC, which is the international ratified Kenya treaty that Kenya has ratified on children, it talks about that most social media platforms a child can join when they are 13 years, and Kenya has ratified to that. Now, according to the research that was presented earlier, we look at and we see that the people who are using social media the most are girls and young women between the age of 16 to 24. So you see that the teens find themselves in that age bracket. So as we talk about policies on protection and safeguarding, we are looking at, we have the traditional safeguarding policies which did not have an online face to it. The online face has been now ratified under the Children's Act of 2022, which has really emphasized on cyber bullying and cyber crimes. And then we also have the Computers and Cyber Crimes Act of 2018, which also criminalizes child pornography, it criminalizes misinformation, it criminalizes cyberbullying. So now, traditionally, safeguarding policies and child protection policies have not yet been embraced in Kenya. How have I known this? The last 1 year, I have visited or have had a session with over 330 schools of UPBET schools. If you know UPBET schools, you know that they are the community schools that are not generally, they don't belong to the government, but they help in education. So these community schools, the 320 schools that I have interacted with so far, none of them have a traditional child protection and safeguarding policy. They all need it. They all needed me to create one for them. Now talking about the online safeguarding policies now become even something that's such a monster. But then that's something that we need to have a discussion on, because if you look at the Children's Act of 2022, Article 74, it gives power to the National Council for Children's Services the ability to make implementation of this act. Now, implementation of this act means that now we need to come up with digital policies that can be able to help schools be able to tackle the issues of online abuse that is happening to children. Look at the challenges that are happening on TikTok. Look at the DMs that little kids are getting on Instagram. Look at the people who are impersonating in these encrypted platforms like WhatsApp and Telegrams. Yeah, have you seen Telegrams? And the things that they are bringing about, and then bringing children on board, looking like a safe space, but then they use them, they actually indoctrinate them. It's called grooming. Online grooming is becoming a thing right now, where children are groomed to do pornography, to extremists, radicalization. So it's a really trying time for children, and I'm sure all of us here, if I ask you if you have a child, your child has access to the internet.